Everyone has heard of Dongguan, yet very few people know the real Dongguan. Very few people know the real Dongguan. Perhaps without any description, you can already guess this story. Reporting, Your Excellency, the time has come. Destroy the opium. 185 years ago, under the direction of Lin Zhouzi, over 2.4 million gin of opium were poured into destruction pits. There, between the Pearl River and the South China Sea, between internal crises and external threats, they fought to declare the resolve of an ancient nation. But at that time, a 54-year-old Lin Zhouzi could never have imagined that the land beneath his feet would, over 100 years later, undergo such astonishing changes. It is the world's factory, renowned overseas. Nearly a quarter of the world's smartphones, 3/4 of its computer motherboards, 1/5 of its wool sweaters, 1/10 of its athletic shoes, and 1/4 of its designer toys are all produced here. It is China's smallest and fastest-built new first-tier city, from starting with nothing to a population of over 10 million, and a GDP surpassing 1 trillion yuan, achieving these twin milestones in just over 40 years. What exactly happened in Dongguan? What is the real Dongguan? When we unfold a map, we find that Dongguan is tucked away in a corner of the Lingnan region, nestled against the Pearl River to the west and bordering the sea to the south. The rivers brought vast amounts of silt, which continuously deposited at the estuary, ultimately shaping this land of interwoven hills and plains. 1600 years ago, to escape the chaos of war, refugees from the Central Plains migrated here, but at that time, Dongguan was still a land of miasma, hot, humid, and plagued by frequent floods. But before them lay only this narrow path between the river and the sea. What could they do? There was no choice, no other way. Survival was the only answer. So the first people of Dongguan farmed the land while taming the rivers. To better make a living, they used the Dongguan grass from the Dong River, weaving it into various handicrafts, and gradually developed early industries and commerce. By the Ming Dynasty, this once desolate area had been built into a prosperous land of fish and rice. It's hard to imagine how long and arduous that millennium was, but for Dongguan, it was perhaps its most peaceful and tranquil time. By the late Qing Dynasty, the Pearl River estuary had become a waterway for both Chinese and foreign trade. Dongguan, being the most critical and narrowest point along it, leapt into prominence as China's southern gateway. This meant it was destined to be the nation's antenna, the first to sense the changes in the outside world. But that first contact would spark a change that would last a millennium. After the destruction of opium at Humen, the Opium War erupted in full force. Before Dongguan lay an unprecedentedly narrow path, treacherous and violently turbulent. What was Dongguan to do? There was no choice. There was no room for maneuver. Resistance was the only answer. And so came the Battle of Humen in 1841 between China and Britain, and the naval Battle of Humen in 1937 between China and Japan. Even through one bitter battle after another, Dongguan never retreated. In this way, Dongguan, as the gate of awakening and a land of heroes, was written into the opening pages of China's modern history. When the smoke of war finally cleared, peace at last returned to this land. By the 1970s, it had recovered to become a renowned agricultural county. But at that moment, Dongguan had no connection whatsoever to the term world factory. When would its destiny be rewritten? That is a story that took place in 1978. Before Hong Kong businessman Jiang Zeiming were two identical handbags, he couldn't believe his eyes. In just one night, the typing garment factory, located in Dongguan County, had managed to replicate a near-perfect product without any blueprints to reference. What he hadn't anticipated even more was that the business problems that had plagued him for so long would find a solution right here in this small county town. This was the 1970s, with soaring land prices and labor costs in Hong Kong. Jiang Zeiming realized he had to move his production operations to survive. But where exactly could he move them to? on a friend's recommendation and just hoping to try his luck. A troubled Jiang Zeiming turned his gaze to Dongguan County, a place deeply connected to Hong Kong by kinship. And that gamble, unexpectedly, would give rise to a world factory. In 1978, the Dongguan Taiping handbag factory, funded by Jiang Zeiming, was formally established. The approval document was numbered UAZ-001. This was a new model of production. Hong Kong would provide the raw materials and equipment, while Dongguan would provide the factory buildings and labor to complete the production. Once the finished products were delivered, this model became known as processing with supplied materials. But at that time, Dongguan's industrial base was extremely weak. It lacked three things: capital, technology, and talent. And as agricultural productivity steadily increased, a growing surplus of rural labor emerged. Dongguan was once again faced with what seemed like a narrow path forward. What was Dongguan to do? There were no other options, no room for hesitation. It was a race against time. Efficiency was the only answer. If there were no industrial factories in the county town, they would use ancestral halls, assembly halls, and canteens. If there were no bridges and roads in the county, they would raise funds to build them, paving the way into the villages and towns. If the approval process was too complex, they would simplify it to a single window. If the model they brought in was too simplistic, they would create a new Dongguan model. Within 10 years, Dongguan went all out, bringing in over 6,000 processing and assembly enterprises. The clothing from Humen Town, the sweaters from Dalingshan Town, and the furniture from Dalingshan Town became famous worldwide. In 1988, Dongguan was upgraded to a prefecture-level city. It had finally transformed from a traditional agricultural county into a new, nationally renowned industrial city. This is the Mate 60, the latest phone recently released by Huawei. After 1,566 days of technological blockade, it has returned. And it's still miles ahead. This is one of China's most celebrated global brands to date, made in Dongguan. It's not just Huawei. Today, OPPO and vivo have long represented China's mobile devices on the world stage. XTC and BBK have been a part of the childhood of generations born in the 90s and 2000s. Products from Ruchi, Marco Polo, Xu Fuqi, and Nanping have also long been a part of our daily lives. They are all made in Dongguan. And all this, just 36 years after Dongguan was officially designated a prefecture-level city. Top 100 global companies like Nestle, Coca-Cola, Philips, Samsung, and Canon have all set up operations in Dongguan. Dongguan's total volume of imports and exports consistently ranks among the top 5 in the nation. And it has established trade partnerships with over 200 countries and regions. There's only one factory of the world. A traffic jam in Dongguan means a global supply shortage. Dongguan's GDP has grown by nearly 238 times, propelling it into the exclusive club of cities with a trillion yuan GDP and a population over 10 million. But the journey here was anything but smooth. The city weathered to global financial crises, forcing this factory of the world to a crossroads again and again. What was Dongguan's next move? This is Dongguan's Ziliubai village before 2015. Today, it's known as Huawei's Zhongshan Lake campus in Dongguan. This is China's first privately owned, fully automated factory running 24 hours a day. This is a 2-inch double-sided superconducting single crystal thin film, independently developed by the Zhongshan Lake Materials Laboratory. This is the China spallation neutron source, hailed as a super microscope for peering into the micro world. And it represents the largest single investment in a scientific facility ever built in China. This time, it seems Dongguan is forging a completely different path. Can you believe it? What you're seeing is the Dongguan of today. Looking for a certain lifestyle? Dongguan offers you 12,000 bubble tea shops and 2,000 coffee shops, 1,000 city parks and 40,000 convenience stores. Love trendy cartoons and collectibles? Then how about building China's capital of designer toys? Big or small, we've got them all for you. Want some action? Then let's create a national city of basketball? Of course, the educational environment has to keep pace as well. Universities like the Greater Bay Area University, City University of Hong Kong, and Dongguan University of Technology are waiting for you in Dongguan. Not only is this the city with the highest proportion of young people in China, with an average age of only 33, out of its 10 million residents, 1.6 million hold a university degree. Moreover, since the era of reform and opening up, around 220 million people from all corners of the country have come here. They came to explore, to pioneer, to work hard, and to build. And that's what created the Dongguan of today, a city known for its inclusivity and great virtue. And in the future, as the super hub of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area, Dongguan will also build 9 new rail transit lines, seamlessly connecting with Guangzhou and Shenzhen. By then, the potential of this young city will be beyond imagination. Now, let's go back to our initial question. From Lin Zhouzi opening China's eyes to the world, to the vigorous wave of rural industrialization, from its time as the factory of the world leveraging global markets, to its current status as a self-reliant hub of innovative manufacturing, every narrow path that Dongguan has navigated has become a source of new momentum. At the narrow strait where the Pearl River meets the South China Sea, it stirred a wind of integrity. And amid the fierce waves of reform, it unleashed a wind of pioneering spirit, a spirit of surprising breakthroughs. Amidst the uncertainties of global competition, gives rise to a wind of steadfast innovation. From its long-term vision, spanning today and the future, a wind of ambition is born. It has endured the greatest hardships and made the most dramatic pivots, implemented the most thorough reforms, all while making the most far-sighted plans. Perhaps today, another narrow gorge lies before Dongguan. But if you know this city, you will believe a gorge creates its own wine, and a rugged path will eventually become a wide, open road.